Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Freakin Uncultured Podcast, hosted by myself and my buddy Andy. Andy, you doing all right today, man?
I'm doing great, man. I'm excited to do another episode, man. This one's going to be a fun one, so.
Oh yeah, no, I'm really excited for this one. But hey, man, what's going on? Let's start off with some small talk, like we have been now.
Okay.
How's life?
Life is, well, it's lifing for sure. Taking it day by day.
Hmm.
Nothing super exciting, man. I mean, you know me, it's always work, 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 unfortunately.
Yep.
Still chipping away at Black Myth. I'm on the last boss. I'm literally at the final boss. I feel like I've given that game a fair shot, and I'm holding off until I finish the game to give my full review. But
Hmm.
I'm enjoying it more than I thought I would at the start, and I still have a lot of gripes and complaints about the game, but all in all, I have enjoyed playing it. I'm glad I played it. I still think it's something you should check out.
Hmm.
But yeah, it's just right now, just Black Myth, and kind of once I finish this boss, excited to get on to the next game for sure.
Man, I would be willing to bet money that you still haven't touched Death Stranding either.
I just so no, I haven't, to be honest. But I bought one of those 30th anniversary PS Slims. I
Hmm.
didn't get the Pro because I don't, I'm not that lucky. But I got the 30th anniversary, but I didn't get the disc drive. So the disc drive has been impossible to find for the past 2 months because
Yeah.
with the Pro announcement, people started buying them up like crazy and selling them for $200-300 online and stuff like that. So I was
Good
like, I'll
old
wait.
scalpers.
Yep. But I finally got one. I finally got a disc drive at a reasonable price. I didn't pay a scalper. I bought it from a store. Um, but I just installed it and I started transferring everything over. Fortunately, if you just copy or move an M.2 drive over, you don't have to format it. Like it'll just copy everything over.
Really, I didn't know that because
Yeah.
on the PS4, if you were to transfer a external hard drive to one to the other, it would format it whenever you hooked it up to it.
Yep. Yep. So
So,
this one you can literally unplug it, plug it, and it carries over. The only thing
dude,
is you gotta install other games and stuff like that. Your game saves don't save to it; they save to the PlayStation Cloud, which
mhm.
still works pretty well. But I'm just now transferring everything over, and Death Stranding was literally the first thing I downloaded. So once I finish Black Myth, that will be my next. That'll be my next conquest.
Good deal, good deal. So, so man, let me update you real quick, and for all of our viewers and everything. So, in one of our previous episodes, I don't know when these are going to come out in what order or anything like that, but I ordered a bed frame from
Mm-hmm.
UPS.
Yep.
At the time of recording this episode, it has been roughly 2 weeks since I was supposed to get this bed frame, and I still have not received it.
Good lord.
And one day they called me after I had filed a complaint and everything and an investigation and stuff, and they were basically just kind of like, hey, we're sorry you're having all these issues and everything. And I just asked them, I said, look, am I allowed to go pick it up? Is that something that I can do? And the lady I was speaking to on the phone goes, well, sir, that's the thing is you can't come pick it up because we don't know where it is. And I was just shocked. And so I asked her, I said, can I ask you a question? Yeah. I said, how do you lose a 70-pound bed frame? I was like, that it's not exactly a small box. How do you misplace something like that? And
Yeah.
she goes, sir, that is an excellent question. I was just like, that doesn't help me, but thank you.
How that makes no sense to me that they just straight up lost a. Somebody got a free bed frame, is what I'm getting.
Oh,
I'm guessing.
oh yeah, oh yeah, and especially because they went and marked it as damaged on the tracking information.
Ah, okay.
So
Huh.
I don't even know, man. But the shipper is sending another bed frame free of charge. At the time of this recording, we're supposed to be receiving it in 2 days.
Okay. Well, keep
So
me in the loop. Fingers
fingers
crossed.
crossed.
Yep. Keep us in
So
the
yeah,
loop, man. Next week we'll ask how the bed frame saga hopefully finishes. Hopefully it resolves itself.
if it has a conclusion,
Yeah.
yeah.
Jesus, man, that's crazy.
Oh yeah. But anyway, everybody. So Today we're going to be hopping into a topic that I feel like is pretty relevant nowadays, especially because the gaming industry is fascinated with remaking and remastering, all of these old games and stuff. And Andy and I are definitely fans of it as well. We like seeing these older games come back in a newer style and with updated gameplay and everything. So today we are going to be talking about games we would like to see get remastered.
Now,
Andy?
let's start off with a caveat here.
Okay.
So we have talked a lot of video games already, and I know when Chandler and I were talking about this topic, there were a few games we've already discussed in previous episodes that I feel like if you've watched any of the episodes, you could probably guess, 5 for 5 on all of the games we would like to see remastered. So we tried to mix it up a little bit, though. Now, these are still games we're really excited for. But, I mean, for myself, obviously, I would like to see another, Star Fox. I know Chandler would like to see another Banjo-Kazooie. So we tried to mix it up a little bit and tried to come up with some different titles, something to keep it a little bit interesting. But developers, listen to us. Star Fox, Banjo-Kazooie. We're still
Let's make you money. We're helping you by you helping us by making these games. Hear that?
There's at least Nintendo 2 sales. There's at least 2 sales right there. That's got to be enticing enough. Come on.
Guaranteed profit.
But I just wanted to throw that out there that these are games that we are excited, but something a little bit different. So nothing that we've already, mentioned in the past. So some of them.
Yeah. You're not going to see, anything we've talked heavily about, such as Banjo-Kazooie, Killer Instinct, Dino Crisis. We've talked heavily about those games. We, say all the time in little side comments about how we want to remake or remaster of them. They're not going to be present in this list. So
nope. But all right, so that case, this is your topic, Chandler. So what's your first one? Where do you want to start off?
Man, starting off, we got to start off with something that I have talked a little bit about before in previous episodes. I think particularly in the shorts that we have done is where I've talked about it the most. But that is Ape Escape. So Ape Escape, as most everybody knows, has 3 games in it. Ape Escape 1, Ape Escape 2, and Ape Escape 3, and they have some spin-offs and everything, but I'm just talking about the core trilogy, though. I think it is a missed opportunity for Ape Escape to have not had a remastered trilogy similar to Crash or Spyro. It is a missed opportunity for sure. The games are goofy, they're a lot of fun to play too, and they could definitely do with some updated graphics more akin to what we have today. And who knows? Team Asobi of Astrobot fame now, of Game of the Year of 2024 fame, was the original developers on Ape Escape. And Ape Escape had a lot of representation in Astrobot. So who knows? Maybe Team Asobi will get the opportunity to bring Ape Escape back to the masses. Andy, what's your thoughts on that?
Man, I'm just watching this trailer just brings me back. I would love to see this. This is another franchise that I'm really surprised we haven't seen anything on already. So the funny thing for me is I remember playing this more on the PS1 demo discs they used to send out with the PlayStation magazine. My buddy and I, we would get the magazines and stuff like that, and we'd play the demos. And I remember playing this on that demo disc, and it's just like I would be all about it, man. Again, okay, so I'm surprised we haven't seen one yet. Like with the they already brought these to the PlayStation online store to where you can play like ports of the originals. There's obviously an interest, and they're obviously putting a little bit of money into it. So I'm really surprised we haven't seen anything on this just yet.
Yeah, and especially here recently, I believe it's on Fangamer. They do merchandise for video games and everything. They just had a whole Ape Escape collab drop not that long ago. So why are we getting merch and everything, but we're not receiving any game?
I mean, who knows? Again, this is one I feel like is plausible. I feel like it's something we could actually see in the works. So,
yep. And then I'll also say this too as a little side thing. So this is a fun fact about my life. I have a fear in video games of water levels and things based around water because developers have a tendency to put massive, abominations of nature in these waters whenever you're playing these games, and they have a tendency of sneaking up on you and scaring you and everything.
All right.
And playing this game as a kid, and I'm sure anybody who grew up playing this game will remember, there's a level where you're having to use a paddle boat, and it feels awful to control because of the thumbsticks and everything.
Yep.
And there is a massive fish in the water that allows you not to swim because it'll shock you if you get into the water with its, antenna that it has on its face. It's like a giant catfish.
Yeah,
Scared the crap out of me as a kid, man. It goes right next to the eel in Mario 64.
I was just about to ask about that, so I was literally going to say, so what about like 64, where that giant eel comes out after you? Or
Oh, dude, Jolly Roger Bay is nightmare fuel for
That's
me.
funny. That's funny.
And yeah, no, that's why like I've hardly played Subnautica and everything like that. It is cemented in me because developers decided that childhood me couldn't have nice things in life.
Man, that's one game I've always wanted to dig into, Subnautica. I just never have. I watched it played online, but that's one I've never actually dug into myself. So
If I can overcome my fears, I'd like to.
yeah.
All right, so Andy, what's your first pick of a game that you would like to see get remastered, man?
So this one. So fun fact: this is actually back in high school. I was in a band. I played guitar for a band, and we had a lot of different songs. Like I had a ton of fun. I think we were a great band. Obviously, we weren't very great because we didn't really do much than like just some shows and concerts and stuff like that. Nothing crazy, but one of our biggest songs was actually a cover song, and it was a cover song to a video game, and it got put on CDs and stuff like that. Like it did fairly well, but the one game I would like a remake more than anything would be the original Parasite Eve. This is, I don't think I'm too far off by saying I'm not the only one that wants this. This is such a beloved franchise.
If you're asking me, I can't say anything because I haven't played either of them, or Third Birthday, or whatever the third one's called. But
yeah. Now, these are phenomenal games. This was back in the day when obviously Resident Evil was kind of king, and a lot of clones kind of came out, trying to mimic that. And I feel like this one did it the best, but it wasn't zombies. It wasn't the zombie clone or horror clone, stuff like that. They got they got really different with the story, obviously talking about the mitochondria and the powerhouse of the cell, and overloading it to where people can spontaneously combust, and it went crazy with this story. My favorite thing about this game, though, is like the turn-based combat and the ability to build your weapons. It was just a different way to play the game. You could fully rebuild your guns from the ground up. You could add frost effects or like different types of effects to the guns. And I know it's a dated mechanic now, but I really feel like some of these developers are just insanely creative, and I would really like to see them dig into this franchise a little bit more. But I would love to see give us the RE treatment to Parasite Eve. Like, I would love to see something along those lines.
So I'm sitting here watching this trailer while you're talking. Can I ask a question about the game?
Yeah.
Did the opera singer just hit a note so high that the mitochondria exploded in everybody in the audience?
She's the one that triggered it.
Okay, but did she hit a note? Like, the opera singer holding up a glass, and, being like, ah! And then everybody just exploded?
Maybe. Who knows?
Oh,
but yeah, no, she's the one. She's kind of the villain. She triggers it. So
okay. So and then another quick question I have too. If you're comfortable sharing, what was your band's name?
We were called Life Tap back in the day.
Life Tap. Okay.
Yep.
Can I find you on YouTube Music or Spotify?
Probably not. I hope not. I haven't even searched that in forever. But yeah, like it was. I'll have to see if I can find that song. Like I said, it was a goofy little cover song, but we did really well. Like it was our biggest song out of all the ones we did. But this game is phenomenal. I am still frustrated with this game because when you do the full playthrough, when you go through New Game Plus, You have to beat the entire game again, and right before you get to the final boss fight, it unlocks something called the Chrysler Tower.
Mm-hmm.
And the Chrysler Tower is a tower that is literally, I think it's like 86 floors, and you have to go up every floor.
Oh.
And they're I don't want to say they're randomized because they're not, but it's not it's always a maze. That's probably the best way to put it. Every floor is a maze, and you have to go from the first floor to the 86th floor, and by the time you get to the top, there's a big boss fight, and there's always a big boss fight every 10 floors.
Okay.
Now, every 10th floor, there's an elevator that lets you get back down to the first floor so you can go resupply and save and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. But that was a nightmare back in the day, man. I think I hit like 30 or 40 or something on there, and it gets rough, so.
Okay. Well, you heard it here first, Square Enix, if you're listening to us, most likely you're not, but on the off chance you are, Andy does not want Forspoken 2. He wants a Parasite Eve remake.
Yeah. That sums it up, yeah. That's pretty much it, so. But that would be my first pick for first remake. I don't feel like I'm the only one there. I'm sure there's a bunch of other people that would love a Parasite Eve remake, but
if they did, I would definitely check it out. I mean, I'll check out the original at some point too. So
it's so good, man. I highly recommend it.
So up next, or go ahead.
I was gonna say, yeah. So you're up, man. What's your next pick for your next remake?
Man, so this one I feel like is a perfect opportunity to bring back, because here recently we just got a new one in the franchise and it did not do so well,
sadly.
And that is Saints Row. And I feel like if they remade specifically Saints Row 2, a nice return to form, remind everybody why this franchise is so beloved, that we could reinvest this energy and this excitement into the franchise that we haven't seen in so long. And Saints Row 2 is the game to do that. It is Saints Row peak. It's the best one in the franchise, in my opinion. 1 is pretty bare bones. It's a bare bones GTA clone. 2, like I already said, is peak. 3 is, I don't know what it is about 3, but it's my least favorite. Okay. And I know that's unpopular because 3 is actually pretty beloved by everybody. It's my least favorite. I even prefer 4 over 3. I don't know what it is about 3. I'm just not a big fan of it.
See, I liked the third one. I liked the third one because that's when they started having a little bit more fun and more liberty with the game. They didn't take themselves too seriously. Mm-hmm. But 2 is hands down my favorite.
Oh yeah, you can't go wrong with 2. And I'll say this too: Saints Row 2022 is not a bad game. I understand that it got a bad rep and everything because of the bugs, and it was kind of a mess at launch and everything, but I don't see why it's a bad game. I really don't. In a day and age where Rockstar's still going with GTA and they have not changed their formula from game to game, and it's literally the exact same thing, what was wrong with Saints Row 2022?
No, that's what was wrong with Saints Row, is it wasn't GTA.
It wasn't Grand Theft Auto, yeah.
Yep.
And so I think Saints Row 2 being remade would be a perfect way to breathe new life into this franchise and remind everybody why this franchise could go toe-to-toe with GTA back in the day.
No, I agree, and I think that's kind of the reason we won't see it, is because nobody wants to compete with GTA. I mean, Rockstar is a monster right now, man. If you, like we've already talked about, there are companies holding back release dates because they don't want to release around the same time as GTA. Mm-hmm. So they already know what kind of powerhouse they are, but it's just the thing of, I think that's its biggest fault, is it's not Grand Theft Auto. And I'm with you. I didn't hate 2022. Hell, we went to Vegas for that event. The NDA is passed on that for sure. Now we can talk about it. But we went to that Vegas event for it, man. We had a ton of fun. You got to actually play the game. I didn't get the opportunity to play, but we had a ton of fun. It was neat seeing all the stuff that they did.
We got to meet some of the developers and everything too. They're all really nice people too, and they really poured their heart and soul into trying to bring Saints Row back. And we just the world did them a disservice in hating this game, in my opinion. And Volition ended up shutting down because of it, or they ended up having to merge with another company underneath their parent umbrella. So who knows if we're ever even going to see another Saints Row in any way, shape, or form, and it's a
Yeah.
shame.
No, I agree. Like Saints Row 2 was my favorite. I love just it was a more serious tone, but it was still ridiculous. It
Oh
wasn't
yeah,
over the top goofy. Like 3 was over the top goofy, but I actually liked 3. I didn't care for 4 personally. That
yeah.
was my gripe. But yeah, this is one I would like to see them give it the proper HD. Let's give it the GTA 5 remake essentially, where they
Hmm.
remastered it and updated the graphics and did the first person mode and all that. Let's see Saints Row get some of that love.
Oh yeah, no joke, man. There was an entire summer where all I did was play Saints Row 2. The entire summer.
Oh yeah, no. My buddy and I, we played this online like crazy. Like this was one of the best co-op like online experiences for us. We had a ton of fun. The insurance fraud game mode is probably one of my favorite game modes in this entire like franchise. Like I would spend hours just doing that alone. So
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
100%.
So, well, coming out of Saints Row, Andy, what do you have for us next, man?
So it's no secret. Like I said, I like different style games, but one style of game I really like is fighting games.
Yep.
And needless to say, I've already talked Killer Instinct and Mortal Kombat and stuff like that. But I want to go back a little bit and talk about some classic fighting games. We've talked, or we haven't talked about them, but I mean, obviously, there's big franchises like Bloody Roar and Soul Calibur and all that. But there's a couple games that I would personally like to see, and I'm gonna group a couple together. I would really like to see a Primal Rage remake. That's one that didn't do very well. Like it's got a cult following to it, but it didn't do the best. But for me, it was one of those anytime I saw an arcade cabinet growing up when I was a kid, like that was one I was playing. I still remember playing as Talon, the little tiny velociraptor, because I liked that so much. And I remember there's opportunities to you can grab the people from the background and heal yourself. Like you can grab the little villagers and whatnot and heal yourself. Such a good game. But the one I would actually like to see a proper remake of is Clay Fighters.
Hmm.
And it's such a unique fighting game, man. It's actually like a claymation style fighting game. I loved the characters. I mean, as you look on the trailer right now, you got someone named Frosty and Blob. I remember playing as Ichabod Crane from back in the day. Like, I don't know, man. I miss this style of fighting games. I like the 2D fighters more than I do the 3D fighters personally, but I like how just comical and not serious. Yeah, I love these style fighting games. I like the classic 2D fighters. I like the non-serious tone of it. It's a snowman fighting just a giant blob. Stuff
Yeah.
like this. Like I love this stuff. I know you're not super big in the fighting games, but do you have any kind of input or anything on this one?
Yeah, no, I'm watching the trailer right now, and this is something that doesn't necessarily pertain to just Clay Fighters. It can pertain to a lot of different games, especially around this time. But it's sad that we don't get anything unique like this anymore. And it's
Agreed.
just because the game industry wants to play it safe. And that is a crying shame. Like, just for the fact that South of Midnight is having that kind of claymation stop motion feel to it and everything, it baffles me that Xbox okayed that, in a day and age where all of these publishers just want to play it safe.
No, and I agree. It's sad though because we live in a day and age where a bad game will shut down a studio, man. Like it's
Yeah.
not it's not three strikes you're out. It's one and done now, sadly.
Hmm.
So I can see why a lot of studios want to play it safe, but I miss the day and age of getting games like this. I miss, even if it's like an indie developer or just an indie studio making stuff like this. Like I miss this style of games. So
I mean, who knows, man? We're seeing a lot of indie developers go and make games that are similar to, these older games and everything. We're getting a lot of Punch Out clones right now, and from indie developers, and I'm definitely not complaining about that. But I'm looking up real quick. Who owns Clay Fighters now?
Well, I don't know who owns it, but I know like 4 or 5 years ago, a studio picked up the rights because they were doing a Clay Fighters game.
Oh, really?
So they actually, there was a studio that picked up the rights to do a Clay Fighters, but it kind of just fell off the face of the earth after that announcement. Like we haven't seen anything, we haven't heard anything. I don't know if the project got scrapped. It wouldn't surprise me, but yeah, this is one I would definitely like to see.
Yeah, there's not a lot of news out there on Clay Fighter at all. Let's see here. Okay, so the last thing that I can find for any recent news is a Clay Fighter game is supposedly in the works, though no official news has surfaced on the project since its confirmation in 2015.
Okay, so Jesus, 10 years ago, man.
Yep.
Yep. So,
So,
I remember, like I said, I was playing KI. My buddy and I were doing tournaments and stuff at that time. So, like, I remember hearing about that. And I was super excited because, again, I still have my Super Nintendo cartridge on this one. Like, I love this game. But this would be the one I would really like to see a remake for.
okay. No, I think that's a solid pick, man. We need more creativity in our game industry.
100%.
So, well, up next for me, I got one that has been overshadowed by more recent games, I guess you could say, but also it came out a while ago, so nobody remembers it anyway, I feel like, except for those who played it. And that is Gun. And it is an open world Western game before we ever even had Red Dead Redemption. We had Red Dead Revolver, but Red Dead Revolver was kind of a, arcade shooter like game. And Gun came out and did it first. And in my opinion, nothing has reached the heights that Gun did. Because, Red Dead Redemption's praised for its realism and everything, and Rockstar is praised for their realism. Gun it still felt like a video game. And that's why I enjoy it so much, and that's why I still like revisiting it over Red Dead Redemption.
Yeah.
Is it still feels like a video game.
So this is one I didn't actually play. I never got the opportunity to play Gun.
You are
But
missing out.
but one thing I'm seeing a trend. You're just trying to compete with Rockstar. You're trying to bring Rockstar down, aren't you?
Oh, 100%, man. I mean, I have my opinions on Rockstar, and we won't get into them today. But their games are overhyped, and their games are beloved, way too beloved for what they are, in my opinion. They're not bad games by any means, but they are not what everybody makes them out to be.
No, I mean, I will give credit where credit's due. I think the GTA, Red Dead, I think they're solid games. I didn't care for Red Dead 2 personally, not because it's a bad game, but Jesus Christ, it's so much.
It becomes tedious at some point.
I was getting frustrated because I was like, all right, I'm going to go do this mission, and then I'd have 27 other missions fall in my lap before I even finished the first one. And
Yep.
I just got so overwhelmed, I was like, I'm not even interested anymore. But I think these games, like Rockstar games, do very well because of the online community now. They're really diving in
Well,
head first and just running with it. And I think that's why they're doing as well as they are.
Well, you can't say that for Red Dead Redemption 2. The online for that game is basically dead at this point.
But I mean, honestly, like, it's nowhere near what GTA was, but it's still doing well.
Yeah. Well, I just say that as in the means that they don't support it or anything, and they don't update it anymore.
But I mean,
They're definitely focused on GTA 6.
no,
So,
for sure. But I mean, people are still playing it. Hell, I had a buddy streaming it the other day. Like, there are people still streaming and playing Red Dead Online. So,
yeah. See, I think because Gun was published by Activision, and I believe they were still the owners of it during the Xbox acquisition of Activision, and if they just even put Gun on Game Pass, I'd be happy. Just to be able to sit down and play it, kick back on the couch and play it again. But if they remade it, I would love that so much. It is a fantastic game. I definitely recommend you try it out. I think it's on Steam. So
yeah, it's on Steam. I've seen it on there. I'm really surprised this isn't on Game Pass.
me too. I mean, give it time. We're starting to see a slow trickle of Activision games
Oh,
appear
yeah.
on Game Pass. So
Yep. No, we've been seeing like StarCraft and Diablo and stuff like that. So yeah, I over time I think it'll happen, but I'm just surprised this wasn't like a big one that they just dropped immediately.
Oh yeah, no, me too. And everybody I've talked to that has played this game loves this game to death.
Oh yeah,
It's definitely worth checking out, man. It still holds up to this day. I mean, graphically, of course, it's dated, but
yeah.
it still holds up gameplay wise. It is a ton of fun, man.
No, it looks. I mean, I don't think I've ever heard a bad thing about this game, to be honest. So,
hmm So, what's your next pick for us, Andy?
so for my next pick, I this is a personal favorite of mine, and that's the reason I'm calling this one out. But I would really like to see a resurgence of the style of these games more than
hmm
anything. But for my next pick, I'm throwing out a classic called Blazing Dragons. And kind of going back to what we were talking about originally, I don't feel like there's that level of creativity and like uniqueness to games anymore. And this one is just everything I wanted in an entertaining video game. I love those old point and click adventure games. I don't know if you're really into those, man, but I grew up with those games. I grew up playing games like Myst, you know, Blazing Dragons, Returns, Secret of Monkey Island, stuff like that. Like, I love those games. I love the story. I love the puzzle aspects to it. This one is one of my favorites, and I know I've told you. Actually, you were there when I bought a PS1 copy, I think, if I remember correctly.
Yep. Yep.
This is just such a phenomenal game, man. Like, you play as a dragon who wants to be a knight of the square table instead of the round table,
hmm
and you are just like the biggest loser of a dragon that you could be. Like, you're not a knight, you're not a big macho guy, you're kind of this nerdy guy that likes to invent things. Like, that's your
hmm
thing. You invent a thing called a clicker,
hmm
and all it is a pen, and you just keep clicking it. But
And you
there's
just
no
keep,
but there's no pen to it. The point
yeah,
of it is just to click. All you do is click, 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 click. That's it.
man. So I have two things to say. One, the thing I know the most about this game is actually the hidden F word that's in it. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I don't. What?
Well, yeah. So at the time, the F word hadn't been in a video game allegedly, and so uh, I think so. One of the guys in Monty Python wanted to be the first person to say the F word in a video game, but they didn't want to jeopardize their rating. So there's an Easter egg where if you click on certain things in a certain order, he says something along the lines of, like, I just wanted to be the first person to say, you know,
Yeah.
and video game history.
Huh. I'll have to look that up. I feel like I've probably seen that because I put so much time into this friggin' game, but I'd have to look into that. I don't know. That's
Yep.
funny.
And then that is I do love, and this is the other thing too, is I do love me some point and click adventures. There is a certain charm to them, and I grew up playing. For those of y'all that are watching that are a part of my generation, I played Pajama Sam and Putt Putt. Those games were a ton of fun as a kid, but I also played a lot of like Grim Fandango, Sam and Max.
Yep.
I didn't play Myst, but I played Riven, which
Yep.
is
The
the sequel
sequel.
to Myst. Yeah. So I do have a place in my heart for point and click adventures. I mean, at one point in time, whenever I was in high school, a buddy and I were actually planning to make a point and click adventure game. So I think there's still a market for them. It's a very small market, but there is a certain charm and appeal to a point and click adventure.
Agreed. Like, these are some of my favorite games when it comes to just being able to sit back and unplug and not being so heavily invested. Like, I have to
hmm
be on my edge of my seat, like ready for fights, but it's like I can sit back, enjoy the story, and enjoy the puzzles and the mechanics of the game. But the other
hmm
thing I like about this, you can tell when people start bringing in a passion project and really putting their heart and soul into these types of games. That's what I miss, man. I love this game specifically just because of the charm it had, the story it told, the puzzles. Like, this is a game I could play for hours on end. But when I want a remake, I would love a remake of this game for sure. but I just like to see a resurgence of these style games. So I don't know if that really counts for what we're talking about, but that's what I'm gonna throw out there.
Okay, so you and I need to make a point and click adventure is what I'm hearing.
I'm down.
All right.
I think we need to make an FMV game.
Yep.
I think we could have a lot of fun with that. And now we need to make a point and click.
Okay.
All right, so let's do that. So
sounds like a plan.
sounds good to me. So that's going to be that's going to be my second to last one. And this is your last one, if I remember correctly. What's your last one?
So my last one, this is it, everybody. I have to get in the obligatory Crash Bandicoot reference in every episode because I'm pretty sure that. Wait, no, I think our last episode I didn't make a Crash Bandicoot reference in our Mario tier list episode.
Maybe.
I don't
Maybe.
I don't know if I did or not. It's possible I could have.
We'll have to rewatch.
Yeah. So, but Crash Twinsanity is the goofiest Crash Bandicoot game out there. And I love it to death. It's a game that released in the time whenever Crash Bandicoot was just putting out games that people didn't like and games that, are considered bad nowadays by the Crash Bandicoot fans, and just, people in general, because some of them are a bit rough, especially Wrath of Cortex. But Twinsanity came out, and it's technically Crash Bandicoot 5.
Mm-hmm.
And it is just filled with slapstick humor. It is filled with just great jokes that still make me laugh. A ton of fun gameplay elements. And what's crazy to me, though, is so this game actually started out as a completely different game. And the whole story of the game was going to be that the evil twins, which are the main antagonist of this game, were collecting bits and pieces of different planets, and they were going to make one giant new planet. And so that was going to be the story of the game. But for any of y'all who play Ratchet and Clank, that sounds very familiar because at the same time this game was in development, so was the first Ratchet and Clank, because that is the story of that game.
Yep.
And once they heard about it, Vivendi and Universal, once they heard about the story of Ratchet and Clank, they ended up having to scrap their initial idea. And then, of course, Universal did not give them more time to make a new game. So there's some imperfections with this game because of the time constraints and everything. But overall, it is still a blast. But I would love to see this game get remade with the cut content that was initially supposed to be in it. There's cut bosses, there's cut levels, there's cut worlds. It was going to be so ambitious. And Ratchet and Clank had to ruin it all. You hear that, Insomniac? I'm coming after you along with Rockstar.
I'm sorry. I just look over at the trailer, and at one point I see Crash bent over Cortex's knee, and he's just spanking him for some reason.
It's an idle animation. Have you not played Twinsanity?
I haven't played Twinsanity.
Oh, dude, I can't recommend it enough. It is the goofiest game ever, and it is a ton of fun.
It's so goofy.
I will let you borrow it if you want.
That's funny. No, I'm watching the trailer, and I'm seeing a lot of different stuff. Like, obviously, you seem to be kind of partnered up with Cortex because you're obviously traveling a lot with him. But I'm seeing a lot of like little ties to where when you do your spin attack, you're actually spinning Cortex, or if you're picking something, if you want to blow up some barrels, you throw Cortex at the barrels and stuff like that. So,
yeah, and I'll say this: that's one of the gimmicks of the game, but that's not how you play the entire game. You and Cortex aren't attached to each other the entire time.
Yeah, no, I'm just looking at it. It just looks funny. It just looked really goofy.
Oh yeah, man! If you want to play it, I'll let you borrow it, or honestly, you know what? No, we can do it. We can talk about this game another time for another segment that we want to do at some point on this channel. So, this is a game that will be revisited in the future on Freakin Uncultured. I can promise you that right now.
For sure. All right.
What's your last pick, Andy?
All right, so he just bent him over his knee again.
Yeah.
So for my last pick, I know we did this big thing at the beginning saying we don't want to do games we've already talked about and stuff like that, but I can't.
You were lied to.
Well, yes, I'm sorry. I can't help it when it comes to this game. But Capcom, I need you. I know you're watching. I know the company's a really big company. The odds of at least one person watching is still pretty slim to none, but I'm being hopeful. I want a Fox Hunt remake. And it doesn't even have to be a remake. Like, who did Limited Run just did the remake of Corpse Killer and Night Trap and stuff like that. And I can't remember the studio that redid those, but give us a proper remake of like just a great port of these games. Like, come on, Limited Run, whoever, like let's show this franchise some love. Screaming Villains.
Okay, Screaming Villains, because
Yes.
yeah, it just has Limited Run plastered all over what I'm seeing.
Yeah, no, Screaming Villains was the developer that did this one. So they did a full rebuild of like Corpse Killer and Night Trap, and I think they did Double Switch too. But like this is one of my favorite games of all time, and this is something I definitely want you to play. It's hilarious. The entire game is just from nonstop beginning to end. I was just laughing the whole time, enjoying this game. It's so ridiculous. We were talking about it a second ago. Like, there's a lot of big names that I didn't even realize were in here. Like cameos and stuff like that. Obviously, Rob Lowe right there.
Yep, Rob Lowe.
So just like, I love this game, man. It's hilarious. They don't make games like this anymore. And I'm not even talking just FMV. I'm talking story. You know, these are games when they didn't take themselves too seriously. They had a lot of fun and a lot of, they enjoyed doing this. I couldn't even imagine being on the set while they're filming this, because I'm pretty sure the entire time the entire staff is laughing. The entire cast and crew is laughing.
Yeah, no, that's the thing, man, is games are too serious nowadays. Everybody has to have a tragic backstory, everybody has to be a tormented soul. They're way too serious in games nowadays.
Agreed. And this one, at some point we need to figure out a time, because I really want you to play this. This is actually a game we could probably run through the entirety of the game in a couple hours. Like, it's not a super long game, but there are multiple endings and multiple paths to it. But I love this game, but I miss this style of game. I do miss FMV games, but I do miss games that were just fun to sit back and laugh and enjoy.
So let me ask you this, because obviously I haven't played Fox Hunt. How many foxes are in Fox Hunt?
I would probably have to. I'm gonna at least say one.
At least one. Okay.
At least one. I'll at least go there.
Well,
I feel like there has to be one somewhere.
Wait, why do you love this game so much? I just saw a chimpanzee pop up in the trailer.
Spoiler alert. But
we all know you don't like primates, Andy.
Yeah.
We see your Twitter comments.
So this is obviously a trailer showing like the intro and a little bit of the gameplay, but you play as this guy who is like just a loser. Apparently I'm seeing a trend of a lot of games I played when I grew up. But this guy is just a nobody, and he's obsessed with movies and TV shows. And that little book he has is how he can watch TV. Like, if you look, it'll show like the cast and the credits all on the bottom, but you can actually watch the episode on the top. And this is how he watches TV, and this is all he does. And he's obsessed with it. He's like the most knowledgeable person when it comes to TV shows and stuff. It's just goofy and ridiculous. And what happens? What's up?
Why does he kind of look like a young Jimmy Fallon? Just a little bit.
I could see it. But so what happens is he actually goes down to a local bar, and there's a TV show on that bar. It's a game show. And ironically, the game show is called Destiny, which I thought was funny.
Yeah.
But it's a TV show, like game show, where they have contestants sign in on a computer and they'll play, and they'll answer the questions by typing in the answer. Well, the TV show asks a question, and the answer for the question is this long, drawn-out statement on how he's finishing this. He's like, finish this famous phrase from this TV show, and he finishes the phrase. Well, the phrase is actually the same phrase these two agents waiting in the bar are listening to hear, to pick up their new secret spy or to kidnap them for their new secret spy organization. So you kind of accidentally get kidnapped and recruited to being the world's #1 spy. It's ridiculous, and I love it.
It kind of reminds me a little bit. Did you ever watch a TV show called Chuck with Zachary
I remember
Levi?
the show. I know of the show, yes.
Oh, I've seen it all. I love that show.
I haven't seen all of it. I watched a few
it's
episodes.
it's so stupid, but I love it to death. But it's kind of a similar situation. He inadvertently ends up, becoming an agent for the American government in Chuck. So
Yep. And this is kind of the same thing. Like, it's just, this is a lot. I didn't see a lot of Chuck, but this is just a lot more comical. Like, it's just, like, you can see they're just making fun of, like, different TV shows. And, man, this is hands down one of my favorite games of all time.
I like their Fantasy Island reference.
Yep.
Going on right now.
And it's all of them. There's so many different types of them, man. There's so many different shows. There's a clip here at the beginning. I don't know if we'll actually see it, but he looks through his kitchen table and it's just piled with bills that are all overdue and past due and stuff like that. But there's a bullet on the table. And the bullet has a piece of paper like taped to the side of it and it says Jack on there. And he goes, "Cool, a bullet with my name on it." And he starts kind of makes the bullet look like it's going through the air and it's whizzing by things, and then it blows up in his face. And it's just like, it's such stupid little gaffes, but like everything about this game is extremely charming. I can't say enough good things about it. But Fox Hunt would be the one thing. Like, I don't know if I'd want a proper remake or like a new one. I just want a remake. Give me this game, update the graphics. Obviously, it's a little bit dated and very pixelated by the the compression and all that stuff too. But God, it's such a good game, dude.
I'm watching the trailer, and honestly, it just reminds me of a bunch of Steve Martin movies as I'm watching it. But so
it's so good.
Well, everybody, those are Andy and my games that we chose that we would like to see remastered. So we're going to actually start closing out this episode. Andy, is there anything that you want to say to everybody before we shut the lid on this one?
I don't think I have anything really, crazy to dig into. I just kind of want to say again, thank you for everyone listening in, showing your support. I do have something I do want to say.
Mm-hmm.
We've done the impossible.
What's that?
We have a TikTok.
Oh yeah, we do have a TikTok. You can actually thank Andy for that because
good Lord.
Because whenever I tried to make a TikTok, I got us banned. So
mind you, when you did the TikTok, all you did was create the account.
Yep.
We didn't even have it for like 5 minutes before we got banned, and we didn't even make a post. We didn't get to like anything. The only thing we did was create the account and we got banned. So, and they're still holding up that ban for some reason. I don't get it. But after multiple attempts and stuff like that, we do have a TikTok. It is FN Uncultured.
Yep, so, like the letters FN.
Yep. So give us a follow on there. Like some of our videos there. But we are going to start posting more and sharing some stuff there. But we have done it, guys. We've joined the 21st century. We have a TikTok.
Until it gets banned again in the U.S., everybody, we have a TikTok.
At least for the next 90 days. So.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but yeah, just follow us there. We still post on YouTube. We're going to start posting more on Instagram. So any support you guys have been showing us is greatly appreciated. And it's definitely not going unnoticed, guys. So thank you again.
Yeah, no, thank y'all all so much for watching. We definitely appreciate it. And we have more projects in the works other than just, doing this podcast. It's just time is the biggest thing. Andy and I both still work full-time jobs and we do this on the side as just something fun to do. And, we got some stuff in the pipeline. It's my fault that we haven't seen it yet. I have to get some things updated and set up before that can happen. But I'm just going to say this, stay tuned, bear with us. We're getting there. You're going to have more content other than this podcast. But for those of y'all that do watch this podcast, We appreciate it so much, and we can't thank you enough for watching.
No, thank you guys. It's every little bit of support means the world to us, even if it's just one like or you just open and close the video for like open it for 5 minutes and stuff. Like every little bit definitely is not going unnoticed, and we appreciate your time for sure. But
Yep. So, all right then. Well, thank y'all all so much for watching. Remember, you can catch us every Friday at noon at the Freakin Uncultured channel on YouTube. Once again, I'll reiterate it. We have a TikTok, so follow us on TikTok at FN Uncultured. And as always, remember to stay uncultured, and we'll see you next time.